Daniela. I'm from Mexico, and I'm a second-year MBA student.
I'm Marilyn. I'm from Lebanon, the Middle East. I'm a third-year SJD candidate.
I'm Harsh. I'm from India. I'm currently a third-year PhD student in systems engineering.
A professional degree is a growth opportunity.
It's a degree you would want to pursue once you're done with your undergrad studies.
Professional degrees are diverse in the United States. There's a lot of fields to choose from.
I love studying a professional degree in the US because I love being in a country that values education and values intellect, and that will give you opportunities when you try and when you work hard. And I love being in a country where I feel hopeful for the future.
The best advice I received when I was deciding for my program was to be authentic during the process. And the person who gave me this advice, it was actually my Education USA advisor. I am very grateful with Education USA because otherwise I don't think I would be here.
So my professional degree is in systems engineering. I learned a lot of practical experiences from my program, and my professional degree is helping me gain the base knowledge that is applicable to multiple fields in the industry.
The doors that an MBA opens in this country are way more and very different from the doors that they were open in a different place. The opportunities that I've gotten from studying here have advanced my career immensely in a very short period of time.
My professional degree is an PhD in law. I was named an International Peace Scholar, and I was also offered to intern for a federal tax judge in Washington, D.C. So it gives me hope that it can be scary sometimes pursuing a postgraduate degree, but the U.S. has an abundance of these possibilities.
Studying in the U.S. has definitely changed my life and given it a whole different sense that I would have never imagined otherwise.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Anissa, and today we're going to continue our series of webinars devoted to graduate applications. I'm very happy to present our speaker today, Linda MacCarthy, who is Graduate Admission Counselor at The Ohio State University. Linda have prepared a wonderful presentation for you guys, so you will have a lot to learn. Please don't be shy to ask your questions. We welcome all your questions, and we'll be happy to respond to all of them at the end of the session. Dear Linda, thank you very much for joining us today, and you may start. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you once again, Anissa, for inviting me to come and present to the group today. Like Anissa said, I'll be talking about the graduate application process, and more specifically, writing an essay, or how to put together your essay for the application. So what I want to start off with, obviously, is my name. Like Anissa said, I am coming from the Ohio State University. I'm in the Central Admissions Office. So for Ohio State and for many higher education institutions here in the US, there might be a distinction between the two when it comes to the graduate level. So at the graduate level, there's a central admissions office where they don't necessarily make application decisions like us, but the program would be the ones that is making the decision. So you're applying to a specific program within the university, but the central admissions office like mine will collect your application materials and then pass it on to the program for them to review and then make a decision on your application. So we'll be speaking, or I'll be sharing some of the tips that I've learned from my colleagues here at the university, and hopefully it will be beneficial for you. And like Anissa said, if you have any questions at any point, please go ahead and put that in there. I'm hoping this is a little bit more interactive, so I gave 2 examples towards the end where we can review together, ask questions about it, and then make analyze those essays as well too, and learn from that as well. Okay, let's move forward. So as we talk about the application process for the graduate level, there's certain materials that are application materials that are required for almost all programs. This is pretty standard set of material requirements, but what I want to make sure you understand is that each material or each requirement for the application tells a different story, or tells a different side of your story, and that's what you want to be attentive to. So on the screen, we have certain different things highlighted, right? The application itself, so you applying whether online or a paper application, whatever it might be, you're providing your biodemographic data, so your name, your background, of course the program itself that you're applying to, and then you'll also probably be submitting some sort of test score. So for most programs here at Ohio State, we don't require the GRE anymore, but some programs still do, or some programs say that it's optional for you to submit the GRE score or the GMAT score. And these are just standardized tests that you may take, that you would take to show your readiness for a graduate program. There are still schools that require them. Most professional programs, such as law, will still require it. Veterinary medicine still requires it. But when it comes to our graduate programs, where you're going for a master's or a PhD, you may not need to take that test and submit scores for it. We will be asking for your transcripts. So any undergraduate program that you have done, or even graduate program that you have done, post-secondary program that you've done, or courses that you've taken, we're asking you to submit transcripts for it. This, of course, shows your academic abilities, or in terms of the classes that you took. The test scores shows your readiness to go to the next level, and then your transcripts is what you had done in the past, right? And then we're asking you for a resume or a curriculum vitae. You'll hear it mentioned as CV most often. This is just you giving a summary of your education history and career history as well too, to let the admissions committee see what you have done in the past, and in some sense to kind of help them see how that aligns with what your goals are. They'll be asking for letters of reference or recommendation letters, and these recommendation letters are assessments of you as a student. So typically they're asking for academic references, but some programs like the MBA might be asking for professional references, and so supervisors that you've worked with, or sometimes even coworkers that you've worked with, that can speak to your abilities or your skills or your character. That's what they want to do. They want to see, and they typically want it to be in comparison to others. And so if it comes to you asking a professor, for example, for a reference letter, it would be that the professor is comparing you to other students that were in his class around the same time. And that helps the academic, or sorry, the admissions committee get a sense of what their peers, so the admissions committee is typically made up of faculty members as well too, what their peers have seen of you in terms of your abilities and your character as well. And then finally, the main thing that we'll be spending a lot of the time talking about today is the statement of purpose, or the personal statement. So this is the essay portion of your application. Some applications, the actual application itself will have some essay questions for you to answer as part of the application. Some applications completely forego that. Most of our graduate applications here at Ohio State don't have an essay portion on the application itself, but the program will ask for you to submit a statement of purpose or a personal statement. Now, these two phrases are fairly interchangeable now. In the past, there was a clear distinction between the two, what a statement of purpose would be, and then a personal statement. Statement of purpose tends to be a little bit more formal, and then a personal statement would be a little more informal, you bringing in your life experiences and things like that. But nowadays, most programs use them interchangeably, and so you may see one or the other being required on your application. And so this is where you can tie together all the other aspects of your application. This is the place for you to tell your story, right? And so we'll talk about that some more, but it is a good opportunity for you to reference certain discrepancies that may have come up in your academic history, or whatever it might be that you want to explain to the admissions committee. That way they don't make assumptions, because you have at the outset shared with them what your history is. So let's talk some more about the process, or of crafting your essay. So first, I want to mention what what is your statement of purpose, or what is the statement of purpose or personal statement? It is a 1 to 2 page statement, so it tends to not be very long. You don't have a lot of space to talk here, um, but you want to show your readiness for the graduate study, your academic and professional goals, and how the specific program that you're applying to can help you achieve those goals. So the thing to be attentive to with personal statements or statements of purpose is that it should be specific to the program you're applying to. It's hard to write a general one that would work for all the different schools that you're hoping to apply to, because you want to speak specifically to each program and what is available there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. But I was doing research to prepare for this. This is a summary of a quote that I saw, and it says that an effective personal statement should convey how your background and experiences have shaped your goals, how you are well matched to your chosen career or even the program, and provides insight to your character and maturity. So that is something that you want to pay attention to, right? Um, it should speak specifically again to that program, to your own personal career goals, and what you want to achieve essentially by completing this program, and should help the admissions committee see how mature you are, and your character as well too. So there's certain things that I think will be important for you to pay attention to in terms of having reviewed the essay before you submit it. That way they know that you actually read through it, you did some research before you started putting it together, you have proofread to make sure that there's no mistakes in there. And yeah, as we go through and talk about the example, hopefully you'll come to understand what I mean by that. So things to consider when you're first crafting your essay. So you want to think about the why, the reason why you're pursuing this degree, your own academic goals or career goals. This is something that you should really be thinking about before you even start the application process. And so when you're going through and starting to write your essay, your answer to this question will be very helpful to you. You want to think about the what. So, what you want to study very specifically within that program itself. So, at Ohio State, we have a wide variety of programs. There's so many things that you could do here, and so if you don't know exactly what you want to study, it's easy to get lost in the midst of that, and it's hard to convey to the admissions committee why they should consider you or what it is that you want to do if you don't understand that yourself, right? Because there are several areas that you could go. So they could see your application, see your essay, and say, they are applying to this program, but we think they might be a better fit for a different program here at Ohio State. And because of that, they might deny your application for that reason, right? Not because you're not a capable student, but simply because they believe that you're not a good fit because of how you conveyed or portrayed yourself through your essay, for example, right? The how, so who you would be working with within the program. So this is where you're looking at potential advisors or the lab resources that are available within the program or on campus as a whole, that would be vital to your pursuit in this specific area of study. And so that's again where you would be doing a lot of research about the program itself. You'd be doing a little bit of soul searching as you answer these questions, making sense for your own self why it is that this program is important and how it can help you achieve what you want to achieve. And then also about the program itself, about what the program is, who is in the program, what are they doing, why are they doing what they're doing, and does it help or does it tie into what your goals are, and can it help you achieve those goals, right? And these are all things that you want to convey within your essay as well too. So again, coming back to that same point of doing your research, do your research. Why graduate school in the first place? Questions that you should be asking yourself. Why graduate school? Do you even need to go to graduate school to achieve what you want to achieve in your career. What courses or programs excite you or you do well in? Sometimes the do well may not necessarily be as important a piece. Yes, it is important to achieve and be able to complete your degree, but when it comes to things like PhDs, for example, this is a long-term commitment, right? And so if you're not passionate about what it is that you are signing up for, you may be setting yourself up to quit before you're done, right? So you kind of want to think long term what you want to achieve, whether you're passionate enough about it to dedicate the number of years necessary to complete that program. And then your undergraduate experiences, so whether it's individual projects that you did, group projects that you did, research that you may have been involved in, internships, accelerated courses, higher level courses, all of these different things can help inform you about what it is that you're passionate about. So maybe when you were completing your undergraduate studies, the actual degree that you completed was not all that exciting, but a certain aspect of what you did in that program, whether it be research or assisting a professor, something along those lines, or an internship, something in there was exciting to you. So zero in on that thing that was exciting, see if there's a broader field relating to that, or even within your specific program relating to that, and then start to look at different programs or I should say, graduate programs that might help you accomplish that goal of working within that area. So as you're doing your research on the different programs, you also want to identify potential advisors. This is where it comes in or shows in your essay that you have done your research, because you will be highlighting, or you want to highlight, specific individuals within the faculty in that program that you want to work with or you hope to work with. Maybe you won't work necessarily with that specific advisor, but it shows that you've done your research, and also it helps the admissions committee get a sense of what it is that you want to do and how to connect you with certain faculty members to accomplish that goal as well too. Some schools will, or some programs, I should say, will post information or provide information about the different faculty members, so you can do research on that, see what research they're doing, or what specific areas within that field they're working on. You might be able to see their own CVs or curriculum vitae on the program website. See like a summary of their research, different things like that that can kind of help you make informed decisions about which faculty members you want to work with. And you also may be able to reach out to graduate student groups within the program that can help you get some opinions or thoughts on the different professors or labs that are there. At Ohio State, I'm proud to say we have a lot of groups or student groups that are available for you to connect with even before you complete the application process. We have each program has a program coordinator that you can connect with and ask them questions before you apply. Some programs have information sessions, pre-application cycle, where you can ask these sorts of questions at as well too, or they may provide you with information on how to connect with faculty members as well. You want to also, again, do research on the labs that are doing work within your field. When it comes to the graduate level, I really want to emphasize that the program itself, or the professors themselves that are in the program, should help you make a decision about where you want to go, right? Rather than looking at just the reputation of the school as a whole and what resources might be available at the school itself. Yes, that is important. You want to look more specifically at the program and get a sense of what the program is about, what research labs are available in the program, what resources the program provides, and how that again connects with what you want to do and how you want to grow in your career or academically as well. And then sometimes the department or the program might post up their handbook, which includes a curriculum. Sometimes it's not the handbook that has the curriculum, they just have the curriculum on the website. And so the curriculum is just to tell you what you will be doing in the program itself, so that you know, again, how the program can help you achieve your goals personally, right? So all of these things are things that you want to look for as you're doing research, or questions that you want to ask as you're doing your research. And if you meet with admissions counselors or program coordinators or even professors themselves, you can ask them some of these questions as well too, and help you make a decision. So now let's talk about crafting the the essay itself. So we've talked a lot about doing the research and preparing yourself to write that essay, or to even apply and then to write that essay. But as you are writing the essay, what are certain things that you want to include or pay attention to? So you want to include things that highlight your understanding of and commitment to the profession or field that you are going into, right? And so let's say you're applying into computer science engineering. That is a very popular program. I'm not quite sure if it's popular because it's an up and coming field, and so people feel confident that they will have a career after they're done with the program. But whatever it may be, you want to make sure that you understand the field and understand the profession maybe that you might have after you're done with the program as well too. You want to show or highlight your demonstrated skill and qualifications relevant to the program of study. So again, going back to computer science and engineering, you would want to be highlighting some of the things that you did in your undergraduate study within that area. Computer science engineering and most engineering programs, it's hard to jump into coming from a different undergraduate field of study, right? And so you probably would have done computer science or something similar to that in your undergraduate study. And so when you are writing your essay, you can highlight some of the things that you did in undergraduate study, especially if, let's say, you did computer information science here at Ohio State. Those are two separate programs or degree types that you'd be completing. And the outcomes are slightly different, but there are some similarities within it, right? And so computer information science isn't necessarily the same as computer science engineering. So if you were trying to jump over to computer science and engineering for your master's, you would definitely want to highlight some of the things that you did in your computer information science program that has helped prepare you for a master's in computer science and engineering, right? You want to show your desire and commitment to work in a more practical setting relevant to that program. And so when it comes to a master's or a PhD, you either may be doing research or and writing a thesis at the end of it, or most of our programs give two options where at the master's level, where you're either doing research and writing a thesis, or you are completing a practicum, and then sometimes even writing an exam, a master's exam after you're done. And so you would want to highlight or make sure to highlight your commitment to do some of these things as well to complete the program. You want to highlight relevant work or volunteer or shadowing experience that you had that again shows why or how this program aligns with your history and then your future goals as well too. You want to demonstrate your research fit with ongoing scholarly research of the department. So you have done your research, you have looked up the program, you know what the scholarly research that they're doing is, and you're highlighting that in your essay as well too. And then if there are any gaps or discrepancies within your academic record that you want to explain, this could be the place to explain it as well. But I do want to say, with a caveat, that though you can use your essay to explain some of these things, it is a short. It is short. It's only 2 pages maximum. Very rarely will a program accept a 2.5 page or a 3 page essay. You want to limit it to 2 pages. So there's not a lot of space to include all of these different points that I've listed previously, right? And so if you need to save space and you still have this issue of explaining some discrepancy in your academic history, or some of the things that you had done previously, you may want to ask your recommender, one of the people that you've asked to write your recommendation letters, a trusted person that you've asked to write your recommendation letter, to help explain some of these discrepancies for you. And sometimes that's even better because there is a peer for the admissions committee. There is now a peer that is explaining or helping them to understand what your history is and how that ties into, though it may not have been the greatest, how you've grown or how you've changed or what happened during that time and how really now you are prepared to be able to complete the program or the degree you're applying for. So this we're about halfway through the presentation itself. So hopefully this is getting you thinking about some of these different things that I'm sharing and what that might look like when you're actually putting together your essay. So some of the things that you want to convey, we talked previously about your maturity and your character, right, as you are applying. So part of that is you showing your competence or your knowledge of the field that you're applying to, your resilience, so how far you have come in terms of your academics or your career, and what you're willing to do to go to that next level, right? So your resilience, you not giving up previously and learning to continue to pursue things that are important to you. Again, your maturity, um, that can be conveyed in your self-awareness, in terms of being, yes, able to highlight your limitations or your weaknesses, for lack of a better word, but also how you have been working to overcome that, how you've grown beyond that, and I mentioned self awareness again, but all of those things tie into you showing and sounding mature. Maturity also can be shown in the tone of language that you use when you're writing your essay as well too. And tone is hard to teach, if I'm being honest. It's something that comes from maybe reviewing other examples of essays, and getting a sense of what is merely what is merely overly wordy or overly self-focused language, and what might sound like you have done your research or might sound more confident, right? And so the tone is something that you will have to adjust as you write or you draft your essay, and then reread, have others read over it, and rewrite and edit the essay. So you won't get it the first time. This is to say, you won't get it the very first time that you write it. In that sense, you want to give yourself time to write this essay. Maybe as you are deciding to apply for a program, you can start putting together your personal statement or your statement of purpose about why you want to do the program or why the program is important to you. And as you go along throughout the application process, you continue to refine it and ask other trusted peers or even professors to help you read over it and edit and pare it down so that it does come off as mature, yes, self-aware, empathetic, and all of these different aspects, right? So as it says at the top, it does depend on the program. So not every single essay has to include all of these different points that is listed on the screen. These are just examples, right? So for a program like computer science, your relationship building skills is not necessarily all that important. But for an MBA, Master's in Business Administration, your relational skills might be important for you to highlight, right? And so you as you do research about the program, certain aspects of the program or even your career goals should inform what of these points you want to include or highlight in there. Definitely competence and knowledge of the field is something that will be important in whatever program you're applying to. Same thing with maturity and resilience and self-awareness, or even curiosity, but some of these other things are just dependent on your program. And then even with the research fit with that program, again, depending on the program you're applying to, research is not necessarily important. But if I'm being honest, at Ohio State University, research is always important. Even in the most unexpected field, we're doing research, right? So even in business administration, we're doing research. So if you're applying to a school like Ohio State, then you would want to highlight your research experience or your research interest as well. So I've come to the end of giving you some tips of putting together some of these essays, or how to put together your essay, I should say. Um, and the next thing that we're going to do, like I said, I wanted it to be a little bit more interactive. We're going to look at an example of a statement of purpose. So this person is applying to a psychology program. Here at Ohio State, our psychology program is a PhD program. So I want you to keep that in mind as you are looking over this essay. So I'm going to bring that up on our screen here, and I'm going to give us some time to read through it. And as you're reading through it, start to make note of things that you think are strong points of this essay, and what you think are weak points of the essay based on some of what we have talked about in the past, in these past few minutes together. Some of them might be obvious, but even if it's obvious, still highlight it and make note of it in the comment section. And I will take some time to review some of these comments and we'll talk about it together. So hopefully you can read on the screen there. And then in a few minutes here, I'll start reading over the notes that have been presented in terms of what might be wrong or what might be great about this essay. And if you're not sure, you can just say what you think about the essay personally. If somebody submitted this document to you, what might your thoughts be? Okay, I'll give maybe one more minute. Hopefully we'll get some comments. But if not, I'll just share my thoughts about the essay, and hopefully it'll be some of the things that you have noticed as well too. Okay, yeah, I do see two comments. Georgie says it shows interest in psychology and nothing else. I agree. So the big strength of this essay is that, or really maybe you could say the only strength of this essay is that the writer is expressing a strong personal connection or motivation for studying psychology, and there's not really much else. Like Dato says as well too, there's a lot of spelling errors, so it's clear that this person really did not review the essay before they submitted it. Most likely, my guess is because they wrote it at the very last minute when the application deadline was fast approaching, right? And so that's why it's important to take the time to start your essay early, revise, review, ask trusted peers to review for you as well too. I'm not sure about your former institutions or your current circumstances, but here at Ohio State, if you studied or you did your undergraduate study here, we have a lot of on-campus resources to help you to refine your essay as well too. Nowadays, there's also something known as ChatGPT. I'm not advocating for you to ask ChatGPT to write your essay for you, but you can use it as a means to review the essay and make some of these spelling corrections as well too, especially if you're not confident in your spelling skills. Um, Something else that is an issue with the essay is the structure and the organization. So if you read through it, everything is smushed together. They're going from one sentence to the next with no clear distinction between different ideas or new ideas that are presented. And so making sure that as you are when you first draft your essay, maybe you can just have everything put together. You're just trying to put your thoughts on the page. But as you review and update or proofread it to start to separate, create new paragraphs. And so you have more structure, a clear direction that you want the admissions committee to follow in terms of what you want to convey or share with them. They're not very specific. So even though they mention certain aspects of psychology, it's not very specific to the program that they're applying to or how the program has these different elements and how it can help prepare them for the future as well too. So yes, they do mention certain things that they studied in their undergraduate study, but not specific enough to how it ties into what they want to do in the future or how the program that they're applying to would prepare them for that as well, or even the specific concentration within the program that they want to focus on themselves. Doesn't highlight their professional goals or their career goals, and you definitely want to highlight that. So what do you want to do by studying this degree? How does this help prepare you for this degree? You want to pay attention to that. And then again, talking about the connection to the program. So including again, why you are interested in this specific program. When I tell you that it's important for you to do research about the program, the specific program, and write your essay tailored to that specific program, I'm telling you that is very important. It comes off as like immature, uncaring, if you don't do that kind of research and don't highlight those aspects in your essay. And really the admissions committee are reading through hundreds of these applications, well, depending on the program that you're applying to. Going back to the computer science example, that one, we have so many applicants and very few seats that are available. So the admissions committee are reading through a lot of these essays. And so you want to make sure you stand out, right? And the essay is where you stand out. And so if you're not specific enough or direct enough, it may come off as you're just throwing darts at a wall with no clear direction or purpose. And so because of that, they may reject your application, right? Um, okay, we'll look at the second example, and then I'll give us some time to ask some questions. I'll give us another 5 minutes to read through the second example, and then we'll talk through it again. Okay, so this one is a little bit shorter, so maybe I'll give us another 2 minutes or so to review it. And then if you have notes or thoughts about it, you can just put that in the chat. Okay, maybe one more minute, and then we'll start talking about this essay. Well, great. Thank you, Dato and Georgie, for reading and giving your thoughts about it. So yes, it is very clear from the outset that this applicant has done their research or has a clear understanding of the field that they want to go into and what they want to do because they've already done work in this area and are highlighting that. I love that they start off with a hook that kind of draws you in if you understand the field. So I'm sure the professor or the faculty member that's on the admissions committee, when they read this, they have a clear sense, okay, this is what the person has done, and this is where they want to go with their research as well. For us lay people, when it comes to psychology, maybe we read this and don't have a clear sense of what exactly they want to do or what exactly they had done in that field. But for a psychology professor, they read this and they'll catch on right away. Okay, this person knows what they're talking about because they've worked in that area, and I can see who they could work with, or which lab I should place them in, or what kind of research that they could be doing in the future when they come here. And you want to make sure you convey that. So great at highlighting research focus and interests, great at demonstrating their familiarity with the relevant literature and potential faculty members that they could be working with in the program, and then a clear direction. So they highlight a clear direction of where they want to go as well too. And then they give you a comprehensive overview of their goals and specific areas they want to investigate. So Georgie, sorry, Georgie mentions that we see the clear interest, but we don't know much about them. Yes. So as you can see with the based on the three dots at the end there, this is just a portion of the essay because I didn't want to take too much of our time with this example. So hopefully the applicants would have highlighted certain aspects of themselves, right? Similar to what the previous essay did, showing their interest in the program as well too. Sometimes you want to be careful about doing that as well too, depending on the field that you're going into, especially if they've given you specific questions to answer. So something I failed to mention earlier on in the presentation is that certain programs would have or will have specific questions they want you to answer. So our public administration program here at Ohio State, for example, the Master of Public Administration program, I should say, they have specific questions that they want the applicant to answer in their statement of purpose. And so you have a clear boundaries that are set in terms of what you want to address in the essay. But generally, if they don't have those specific questions, these are some of the things that you want to pay attention to, as I've shared previously. So again, thank you all for engaging with that. We're going to be wrapping up or winding down with the presentation itself here. So three C's, three things that you want to pay attention to as you're reviewing your essay after you put it together, right? You want to keep it concise, focus on your future goals, or even if you are sharing about yourself or your academic history or your personal history, make sure that it connects with your future goals and you're concise in that way. You want to be clear, so be clear in your explanation of how these experiences that you've had in the past have prepared you or are preparing you for your academic goals. And you want to be comprehensive. So make sure you're referencing significant projects or research work that you've done or internships that you've done or shadowing that you've done. And I don't know if that's part of your academic curriculum, historic there, wherever you might be, but here, there are some programs that require that you shadow some professional in your field, and that way you have a sense of what you want to do when you're done with the program, or you want to demonstrate. In terms of being comprehensive, you want to demonstrate your knowledge of the field as well too. So, if when you are proofreading or reviewing your essay before you submit it, try to pay attention to these three C's: concise, clear, comprehensive, right? And then, yeah, you should be good to go. And it does also help if you have others reading through it with those three C's in mind as well. So finally, in terms of some do's and don'ts, I know everybody loves to see these because they're very concerned about what they shouldn't do. But I think you should be paying more attention to what you should do, because typically, if you know what you should do, it's easier to avoid the don't do's, right? So make sure make the program the logical culmination of your academic career to date. So it should make sense as the reader is reading through it. It should make sense to them why this program is connected to your past and your future as well too. Should be logical, right? And so it's a persuasive essay to that extent, and so you are arguing to them that you are a good fit for the program, and you're helping them to see that. So being concise in the way that you write your essay, clear and direct, can help them see that as well too. Be specific about what you want to study. Concentrate on your opening paragraph, because that is where you hook the reader in. And so that's why even when we're reviewing those two examples, I just kind of gave you that opening paragraph or that beginning portion, because you want to hook the reader into it. I will be honest to say that I have heard that some admissions committee members don't necessarily read through everything in terms of your essay, and so they may read or skim through that first page, and so you want to make sure you include the important details on that first page or in that first a section of your essay. Speak the language of your field. So if you know the jargon or the technical language that is used in that field, use it. This is the place to do that. You are not explaining or talking to lay people or people who are not in the field, right? You're talking to typically, the admissions committee is made up of professors or faculty members who are high up in that field or in that program. So you want to make sure to highlight that there by using the technical language for that. Research the program, proofread, use action words, be direct in that way, and then follow directions if there are specific prompts. So this is part of doing research for the program or on the program, right? You would see they will tell you if there's specific questions that they want to ask. And if they don't and you're feeling concerned or anxious about it, reach out to the program and ask them if there is specific questions that they want you to answer in the statement of purpose or in the personal statement. Just yeah, to quickly talk through the don'ts. This is the big one at the top. Don't use the same statement for all your applications. Again, each program is specific and has specific specialties or specific faculty members or lab resources. talked about this again and again, but I want to make sure you understand, don't use the same essay for every single program you're applying to. Don't reference experiences or accomplishments from too far in the past. That's why we mentioned high school or earlier. It should be maybe a little bit more recent in your academic history or your personal history. And if you're going to reference it, make sure you can tie it into the program or tie it into your academic goals or your career goals, right? It shouldn't just be a reference that you throw in there to fill up space. It should be very specific, specific as in you can tie it into what you want to do in the future. Avoid cliches. This comes back to not saying something that does not something that's not specific or direct to what you want to do, or how the program can help you do what you want to do, and avoid insincere flattery. It comes off as insincere, right? So if you really mean it, then yes, include it. If not, think about removing that and filling that space with something that's more relevant to what you want to do. So beautiful. We have arrived at the end of the presentation. I'm going to leave this on the screen just so you can kind of get a sense again. It's just reiterating everything that I've talked about so far. There's nothing new that is presented on this final slide, but just to kind of get it into our understanding of what we want to do as we're putting together these applications, or these essays, I should say, for the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda, a lot. Your presentation was very detailed and helpful. I'm sure students learn much, especially from examples and do's and don'ts slide. It's very important to have, hands-on experience when you think about your graduate essays. So I will just start reading the questions, and we will appreciate if you can answer them. So the first question, a student asks, if undergraduate program was in English language, I was supposed to submit English language proficiency certificate like IELTS in case if I want to apply to graduate program.
So yes, this can be institution specific in terms of the English language proficiency requirement. At Ohio State, you might need to, unless you studied at an institution either in the U.S. or in some other primarily English language speaking countries. We have a list of the countries on our website, but even if you did study English language in your undergraduate study, if you did it in your home country, that is not considered to be a primarily English language speaking country like the US or the UK, or even some other African countries that we have listed on our website. You may still be required to submit in IELTS, or we accept Duolingo and TOEFL as well.
Thank you. Next question is, so what if I'm write something like, I'm interested in attending the course by Professor X at your university because I'm enthusiastic about Y?
That could be a good statement. I would probably not start your essay with that, but that could be something good to include in the application itself. Since for graduate study, it's more than just one single course that you're taking. You're talking about either 2 years or 4 to 5 years, depending on whether you're doing a master's or a PhD. You may want to be a little bit more robust in your inclusion of what you want to do with that course specifically, that you're taking with Professor X, and how that, again, ties into what your future goals are.
Thank you, Linda. Next question asks whether relevant work experience count towards computer science masters if I have completely different bachelors.
It could. So that's a hard question for me to answer, because computer science is very technical, right? A lot of engineering majors are. And so there's specific courses that you should have taken, that they'll be asking about. So if you review the program's website or do research about it, they probably have specific courses listed that they say you should have taken in your undergrad or completed in your undergraduate study. And if you didn't because you majored in something else, you want want to convey to them how you're going to bridge that gap then, right? Of those courses that you didn't take, whether you're going to now take some computer science classes, those specific courses, to kind of bridge that gap again, for the program to see that you have prepared yourself. Though you did not do computer science in undergrad, you have prepared yourself for graduate study in that field.
Thank you. Aida asks whether she can use AI tools to assist writing a statement of purpose and how to use them ethically to write the statement of purpose.
Yeah, well, first things first, you don't want it to just write the essay for you and then you submit that essay as is. That, to some extent, can be considered to be plagiarism, right? Because the AI tool is pulling information that it finds on the internet about these things, right? It can be a guide for you. So maybe if you pull something like that, ask it, oh, can I get an example of a statement of purpose? You can use it as a guide and how to structure yours, but definitely do not take it word for word. You can also use it as a way to review the essay that you have written yourself after you're done writing it, and you're thinking, this might be my final draft. I'm not sure. I've had other people look over it, but let me ask this AI tool or ChatGPT to look over it as well too, and have it give me feedback on what the strengths of my essay are and what the weaknesses of my essay are, and use that as a means to guide yourself to make those corrections in the essay.
Okay, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Let me see if we have more questions. I think we answered all the questions we had.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yes, there were some concerns from students whether the session is recorded. Yes, you guys can find this session on our website, My Education USA Online, or on our YouTube channel, Education USA Virtual. If you would like to ask some questions further, please do so. We will get back to you with our responses. Don't worry if you just watch us in the recording and you have questions, you can still ask those. Linda, I want to thank you one more for this wonderful session. I'm sure we have learned a lot today. Thank you very much for all the detailed information, tips, and tools you have suggested to use. This was great. Thank you very much. And we wish you a great weekend ahead, right? So
Yes.
it's weekend, everyone.
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
And thank you for everyone who have been watching us. We wish you a great weekend as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Thank you.